The New York Mets have signed a potential future Hall of Famer to a minor league deal. Craig Kimbrel is the latest to join the Mets bullpen, at least in the minors for now. And if he makes the majors, it'll be $2.5 million if he does so. Obviously, what a career he's had. He's on the back end of it, but worth a flyer. So is Mets Daily. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to Mets Daily below. Make sure you follow me at Jake Brown Live. Click that thumbs up button below. We appreciate it. It helps the channel. Keep on commenting. We continue to read your comments. More great guests coming. We'll keep you posted on guests. Trying to get at least one every week. Some weeks we'll have two, but still some roster moves to go with this team. They're, almost done, but not done exactly yet. So keep on watching, keep on subscribing, and go subscribe to your boy at Jake Brown Live as well. Craig Kimbrel is a New York Met, and a text that I got from a source. Some people don't believe I have sources. They just think I'm some dope. I know some people, and I've been around this business for a decade. So I'm not a reporter. I'm a fan that knows some people, and if someone tells me something that I could share, I will let you guys know. I don't get information often. I have random information. I know about some players and, stuff like that. But, I don't get this information often, but what I was told was hearing that the Mets are still looking to sign a pitcher, which they did in Craig Kimbrel the day after, so maybe that's the pitcher, but I would assume it's not, and talking with teams about spare parts and potential contracts they would be down to shed. And there's a name I want to talk about on today's show that it falls under that category, so stay tuned to see what that might mean. Now, the first guy they did sign right after that is Craig Kimbrel. And listen, to me, it's a no-brainer. Listen, Craig Kimbrel, Christmas Kringle, God, what a tongue twister, is done. He's pretty much at the end of his career. But in very limited time last year, at the end of the season, Craig Kimbrel had a 2.45 ERA in just 11 innings in September. So, listen, the most recent, down the stretch, Craig Kimbrel was great in September for the Astros. Now, it's a small sample size, but the big sample size is his 16-year Major League Baseball career. A 2.58 ERA, 440 career saves. Honestly, I would imagine he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, you don't have a 2.58 ERA out of the bullpen, 440 career saves, and 821 and two-thirds innings, and you not make the Hall of Fame. I mean, the guy has also made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 all-star teams, most recently with the Phillies in 2023. He's Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get out of him, but it's a minor league deal. If he doesn't make it, boom, you cut him. If he makes it, it's $2.5 million. It doesn't crush you. I am perfectly fine with Craig Kimbrel potentially being one of the last guys on your roster. I know some people were knocking this. Oh, he's got nothing. It's a minor league deal. Like, if he proves in spring he's good enough, he makes it, and then if he implodes, you just get rid of him. I don't really think this is a detriment to the Mets at all. Maybe it's famous last words, and, April, May, he's, a disaster. But I would think he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's coming off a final month of the season with the Astros where he finally got a shot and was good. He only, pitched one inning with the Braves in 2025. 2024, he was awful, but that was somewhat of an anomaly. Like, if you look at Craig Kimbrel's career, take 2019, was hurt, barely pitched, wasn't good. 2020, short season, don't even count it. 2021, 2.26 ERA, over 59 and two-thirds. 2022, 3.75 ERA. 2023, all-star, 3.26 ERA. 2024, he imploded, 5.33 ERA, and then 2.25 last year with those 11 innings of 3 earned runs with the Astros. So I say take a shot. I got no problem with it. The Mets should take a shot at? It's Miguel Andujar. Miguel Andujar is still out there for the taking. He's a name I've mentioned on this show. He plays third. He plays first. He could play the corner outfield. To me, he's the perfect right-handed bat off the bench for the New York Mets to, bolster this bench right now. I still think Mark Vientos gets traded, and if that's the case, he essentially is a Vientos that plays defense with less power. But when you talk about a pure hitter, that's Miguel Andujar. Andujar hit 318 with 352 on base in 94 games in 2025 for the Athletics and the Reds. 10 homers, 44 RBIs. He was really good for the Reds down the stretch on their playoff push. This is a hitter. This is a guy that can just hit baseballs. And, again, plays third, plays left field. Plays a little right. He's played a sprinkle of first base, not a lot, but you could put him in there in a pinch if you need him. So I'm very much all in on going after Miguel Andujar. And at this point, he's available. He can be had on a 1-year deal. Like 1 year, $6 million. I would think that gets it done for Miguel Andujar. We'll see. But, he's not exactly the hottest commodity, but he's a really strong commodity as a part-time player. And I think if the Mets especially move on from Vientos, and you're talking about Beatty and Andujar being your lefty-righty platoon in terms of utility guys, that's really nice. Like, Brett Beatty's not a 160-game player. Miguel Andujar is not a 160-game player. But if each one of them is playing 90 to 100, the Mets are better. And I think we need to see more of that, where the Mets have a better bench where guys don't have to play 162. We shouldn't have to rely on players. Oh, he's out there. Your 162ers are Juan Soto, or Francisco Lindor, and that's pretty much it. Like those are your 162 guys, and Bo Bichette. Those are your guys you want playing as close to 162. Alvarez ain't playing 162 because catchers don't. Polanco probably is a 150 guy. Polanco's pretty close. Brett Beatty's not a 150 game guy. Maybe he becomes that, but I think he's your super utility guy. And Miguel Andujar is your super utility guy. Nice career, too. I mean, the guy's got a 282 average for his career. I know average we don't look at. His on base leaves something to be desired. But in terms of a pure hitter who could just play around the diamond for you, I like Miguel Andujar. I know his numbers don't jump out. His WAR isn't great. His on base isn't great. But he's a hitter. And he's a guy who can pop you 10 homers, that can hit you 300, and doesn't get overused. He's a part-time player. You look at Miguel Andujar's career, the last 3-4 years, he's been a part-time. He's not the 2018 Andujar for the Yankees. That was 27 and 92. But that year he was good too at 297. So I'm all in on trying to get Andujar here on a deal. Now, when I mentioned spare piece and contracts to be shed, wouldn't you think the Twins, who don't really have much money, would be cool shedding Pablo Lopez contract? We talk about Joe Ryan a lot, but Joe Ryan is very cheap for them. He's under team control. Pablo Lopez is making $21.75 this year and $21.75 million next year. That's a contract that I would think the Twins would be cool shedding, and it wouldn't cost the Mets a fortune of prospects to get him. It would cost them money, obviously, but there's risk too. You would think they have interest because it is a little bit risky. He is coming off an injury. He is deemed as fully healthy and ready to go, but wouldn't you think the Twins would say, you know what, I kind of have interest in getting something for him and shedding that money. He only made 14 starts last year, 2.74 ERA, struggled a bit the year before, but this is a guy who can pitch you 180 innings. 2024, 185, 2023, 194, 2022, 180. Pablo Lopez still in his prime as well. He'll turn 30 years old in March, so it'll be his age 30 season for Pablo Lopez. It's a lot of money to pay him, but a guy that's still very much in his prime and I think has something to prove here. So there's a deal I think that can be worked between the Mets and Twins, whether it's, Vientos and Wenninger for Lopez and you eat the entire $43.5 million. I think that the Mets and Twins could talk. If it's not Joe Ryan, who everyone wants, I'm intrigued by Pablo Lopez. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Does Miguel Andujar intrigue you? Does Pablo Lopez intrigue you? Could those be the two moves that cap the Mets off season? They get the contract that's being shed in Lopez, who's a good player, and you sign Andujar for cheap in free agency. Obviously my moves are getting Yandy Diaz and getting maybe another starting pitcher. But, put a dollar in the jar, another Jake Brown, Yandy. We might as well mention it every day the rest of the offseason, just in case it happens. Like, we will take full credit for the Mets landing Yandy Diaz. We will say David Stearns and Steve Cohen were watching Mets Daily. We appreciate you for watching Mets Daily, and for that, we will read some of your comments from Friday's show. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, comment below, and follow me at Jake Brown Live. Again, don't make the headlines. I know some people always comment every day about the headlines. That is fan art. It's how YouTube works. I'm sorry. But just ignore them and enjoy the show. That's what I always say. But don't come at me. It's amateurish. I don't do them. They make them. We have a split. That's how it goes. That's how the business goes. Here we go. Sal Capello says, hi, Jake. It wasn't Glenn Sather who brought in the 94 Ranger players with Neil Smith, but it was Glenn Saber who traded most of those players to us. There you go. Good call, Sal. Bruce said, stay warm. Stay warm. We got about a foot here in Jersey, in South Jersey. Hope you all are hanging in there with a snowstorm. I'm sure a lot of you are working remote. And if you're going to the office, kudos to you. It is snow. We've gotten it before. I think everyone got pretty dramatic about it. But the reality is we've got this much snow and more before. So I think everyone will be fine. But stay safe out there. From Jay Martinez, folks are not talking about Tobias Myers enough. He's a very good, versatile professional pitcher who's under control for 4 more years. One or more of these pitchers will get hurt, so Myers being a part of this trade is huge. Keep up the great work. Appreciate it, Jay Martinez. You're right, man. That is someone I mentioned. I think you got to look at Myers like people look at him as a throw-in. I mean, he is a key part of this deal. Like getting Myers and having him be your Swiss Army knife and step in rotation when you need him as a guy who's had success as a starting pitcher and have him for free. Like you said, 4 years of control. This guy, you don't have to worry about his contract for a while. He'll be one of the cheapest players on your roster and perform much higher than what he's being paid. And, that's what David Stearns is good at. He's good at, he was in Milwaukee, guys that barely were being paid, being some of the biggest contributors on his team. That's going to be him. And that's why people like to thrive under young players and prospects, because they're under team control and they cost you. Like Noah McLean will cost the Mets nothing and potentially win Rookie of the Year and be a Cy Young candidate. Like that's what you need. It's not just about those $30 and $40 and $50 million guys performing. It's about those ones that cost $800,000 like a Tobias Myers. R.W. Davis says, trade both Peterson and Senga. I think some teams would buy Senga to buy low. Send him to Cleveland or even the White Sox. Speaking of Cleveland, they extended Jose Ramirez. I know a lot of Met fans have this pipe dream that Jose Ramirez will be a Met. That's not going to happen. But, I'm not going to trade both before the season, but I do see a situation where one or both could be gone by the trade deadline. But I just don't see the Mets parting ways with both, because then there's some question marks in the rotation. I think now with both of them in there, I don't really have any question marks about the rotation. I think they're going to try to add a starter. But if they do add a starter, I do think one of them is gone. I think you trade Senga just because, you don't have to go 6-man if you move Senga. If you keep Senga, you got to go with the 6-man. So maybe Peterson's a reliever. Maybe Senga's a reliever. Heck, I wouldn't mind Senga as a reliever. The ghost forkball, 1 inning of relief in the 6th, or he's like a 6th, 7th inning guy, a 2-inning reliever. I could see that as well, but I have trouble seeing them trading both before the season, but I do think one or both by the deadline could be gone, depending on how this rotation shakes out. Richard Brand Sazio says Christian Scott is a beast. Still looks nasty with his pitch locations. Yeah, we haven't seen him in the big leagues a while, but I do think everyone forgets that he exists, and I'm excited to see Christian Scott. I do think you're going to see him in the big leagues, if not opening day. Once he gets his feet under him, you're going to see him at some point. Dana Abrahams, Mets Daily Insider member, says, what the worries about Peterson. He was class in 2024. He did all the heavy lifting that broke in 2025 and was an all-star. He is class and will be again. Listen, I like David Peterson. My worry is that he's going to break down in the second half, but David Peterson for $8 million is a steal. You have Freddie Peralta for $8 million and David Peterson for $8 million, and both are all-stars. So, I think you got to thrive with those cheaper players, and the Mets have 2 really good starting pitchers, one of them an ace, for just $8 million each, and I like that. I had him on the graphic as 6. Again, those 6 could move around. It wasn't an exact order. But David Peterson is going to be a part of this rotation. Pete says if Holmes pitches well, he will opt out of his $12 million option. It's a good point. Next year, he has a $12 million option. Yandy Diaz for DH 2026. Listen, you don't have to tell me twice. I am the president of the Yandy Diaz fan club. And on that note, we'll end the show. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe. Hit that thumbs up, comment, follow me at Jake Brown Live. We have passed the 3,500 subscriber plateau, folks. 3,600. We're at 3,604. Keep it and subscribe. Let's get to 4,000 by my birthday. How about that? How about by March, by my birthday? My birthday is next Thursday, February 5th. Thank you so much for watching Mets Daily, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on January 27th, right here on Mets Daily.